Book 2, welcome Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for one of my my goals video for 2024. So I don't know if I've already filmed this like at the end of last year. I don't think I did. I mean, I looked and I don't think I saw anything that was, had the title goals video of 2024. Maybe I did. I don't know. So, I mean, I just hope I'm not repeating myself and talking about something I've already talked about. But hopefully, even if I did, maybe this is different from that video, if I did film that. So, first, let's talk about my how many books I plan to read. Like, I always do the Goodreads goal, and I do the Storygraph goal. And with the Storygraph, I do include, when I started joining Storygraph, I did start to include, like, number of pages I want to read. And for me, it's kind of just for fun. It's kind of the thrill of the trying to achieve this goal, but without like putting pressure on myself and getting all crazy and getting upset if I don't meet that goal. I mean, there's a sense of disappointment when I don't meet it, but it's not gonna devastate me, and it's not like I'm, obsessing over it or being like, or prioritizing certain things just to make sure I meet that goal. Like, I'm still gonna take my time, I mean, yes, there are times when I do reach, and when I read shorter books, it's not because I'm trying to be like, oh, I gotta meet my goal, so I better include these books. For me, if I read a short book, it's because either I'm interested in that short book, or I want to read it and wanted to, I'm feeling like it's been sitting there for a long time and I should read it so I can decide if I want to keep it or not. Because sometimes shorter length novels I don't always love because I want more to the story. And then, I don't want these books to be sitting on my shelf for a long period of time just because I'm not drawn to that book at the moment. Because sometimes I'm not drawn to that book for long periods of time. And then also there's been a couple times where I'm like trying to, read that book just so I can pass it on to somebody. Not always about donating, but also pass it on to like my nephews and niece in the future because they're not old enough to read the books I read. And I don't even know, Harrison might be the only one, the oldest boy might be the only one that really gets into reading. But I'm hoping that his brother and sister get into reading too. Like, I remember reading, I got this book, like, I want to say a couple Christmases ago. I think it was a Christmas gift. It might have been a birthday gift. I don't remember. It was, either way, it was a gift from my parents, from my mom. And it was, the books Belle has read in her brief thoughts on them. Like, brief as I knew was just a sentence or two. Because it's meant to be a book that either for, like, you're a hardcore fan, or it's a book that, you're a kid, a little girl that's a fan, and, you want a little something about Belle and her reading hobby. So I read that because I was thinking, okay, do I really want, yes, I'm a Beauty and the Beast fan, but is this something that I absolutely have to have? Is this a book that I want to keep forever? So I read, and it's cute, and, I think it's something to pass on, to a little girl who's old enough to read it, because, Charlie she is only 3 years old, so she's not at that level yet. Although I don't know how my sister feels about the idea that I'm keeping a box of books that for when they get a little bit older, because in the past she said, don't do that, don't save books for them. But some of them I'm also saving because they were books I loved, and, I want to save them, not just for them, but for me. So, granted, I don't plan on having any kids, so. Also, like, not only, also, I just like the idea of the thrill of trying to achieve this goal of reading this number of books. It's fun, So no pressure on myself. I just like setting up a goal and something to achieve. So that's goal number 1. And now like I said, I'm not gonna share because I don't remember how many pages the pages goal I put. Like, I think it's in the 2,000 mark. So I'm not gonna, tell you how many pages because then I have to go and look for it and stuff. So that's goal number 1. So 100 books. Okay, goal number 2. I would like to focus on classic authors that I haven't read. I haven't read as much, such as Anthony Trollope and Wilkie Collins. So I keep meaning to read both. Now I have read some Anthony Trollope, obviously. Like I've read Dr. Thorne and some, which I think I read. I don't know if I read in this year or 2022 when I read Dr. Thorne, but I read that one. So I have been meaning to get to the next book, which is The Framley Parsonage. And then there's also I got Can You Forgive Her, which is part of his other series, the Pulitzer series, which is more politics, government politics, while the Berkshire small town church politics. And then I've been meaning to read, what was that one? That one's The Way We Live Now. I think that's what it's called. I can't see it. Look over. It might be on that shelf, but I don't see it. So, but The Way We Live Now, I think, is what the other one is called. That's a standalone. I know there was a group of people that did a buddy read of that one in 2023. So I've been wanting to read, and it's not part of either one of those series, so I could read it. I think it's a standalone. So, I kept thinking about doing it, but I never got around to it. And then, I keep saying I'm going to read, and Wilkie Collins, and I've started all 3 books that I have Wilkie Collins so far, which is The Moonstone, The Woman in White, and Armadale. I have all 3 of them, and I've started all 3 of them, but then I put them down, and I get sidetracked by other books or by other activities. Because I do reading is like my only hobby. It's the one hobby that I really enjoy, that I absolutely love. Like, I've tried to get into other hobbies, like coloring, and I do, exercise, but not like those people who they're all about the exercising. Like, I just walk every morning just to try to stay healthy, because I do like food, I'm not overweight, obviously, but I do like food, and so I gotta be, I'm in my 30s, so I still gotta be self-aware of my eating habits. And, so I do walk, and it's really easy when I'm working, because I work at a grocery store, it is very easy to keep track of my exercise activity, because because I'm a bagger, and that means I also bring the shopping carts from the parking lot, so I'm always moving and standing and doing, and going back and forth between in the parking lot to bring like 4 shopping carts at the most. Sometimes I risk bringing 5, but that's not necessarily good for my back. So it's very easy to do, the activity that's on my watch. It's easy for me to, and plus my mom helped me set this up, my watch. She did say, she did tell me she picked the easiest activity, keeping track of to start with. So it is very easy. It's just when I'm at home, it's not always so easy, because I'm not always getting up and moving and walking, sometimes I'm just sitting on my computer or doing like this, or, just watching YouTube videos. The only time I get my walk is if I go to the bookstore, or we have errands to run, or I have an appointment or something, then I'll, be walking, of course. But mostly, not walking to the store or my appointment, but, I'm moving a little bit more. But yeah, it's very easy when I'm at home. But it's not like a hobby, unlike reading. And, I like watching movies and TV shows. And I'm, on the internet, I'm one of the millennials that uses, millennials, not Gen Z, because I know someone made a mistake. Someone assumed I was Gen Z, and I'm actually a millennial. But I, we were part of that generation that started using the internet, so I have been, so I like being on the internet, although I have slowly gotten away from from Facebook, I did get back into it briefly, and I'm still, going on there, because it's my way of communicating with my friend, but it's like, at the moment, it's the only way to communicate with her right now. But I was reminded why I left Facebook and took a break from it. When I was on there and dealing with all those groups I made. And now I'm kind of regretting making all those groups and being an administrator. the point where I was so stressed out and got so upset that I was like, okay, this is not healthy, and left those groups. And trying to tell myself, I don't care. I don't need to feel bad that I created these groups and I left them. It's not my responsibility anymore. And, it's not worth getting upset about. So yeah, I try to get into other hobbies, but really my main hobby is reading. So that's why, so these goals, this is my only hobby. So, no, I don't put pressure on myself, but these goals are, something for me that's special for me and important for me. And, so I don't want to, like I said, I'm trying to prioritize certain authors that I meant to prioritize. And like I said, Wilkie Collins is one of them. Sorry, no, it's a bad segue. They kind of sort of deviate back into my original goal, my first goal that I talked about with my rambling about, this being my hobby and everything, my one hobby that I stick with. So I tried to come back around, but I imagine it's very awkward. But yeah, so I've attempted to read all three of those books, but I put them down and got, like I said, distracted by other books. So I need to pick up one of those and prioritize it and focus on it. And pick a good time when I can read it and prioritize it and not get distracted. I don't know if I could bring any when I travel. It'll be kind of hard because there will be a lot of distractions. Although at least I'm thinking that, I don't know, our next trip, we might not be taking my dad's. Well, although no, they showed him. My parents love talk radio, and they introduced my uncle to it, so we might still listen next time we travel. We might be traveling with my uncle, and I might still end up having to listen to that, which is really annoying. But anyway, yeah, so it's kind of hard to read listening to talk radio, especially if it's a book like, a lot of those older books like Wilkie Collins' works. But I do want to get them done. I want to finish one of those books that I bought before, because this year I almost considered donating the books of Wilkie Collins that I had, because I was like, I wasn't sure. I was feeling like, oh, I'm not reading these books, so maybe I'm just no longer interested in trying this author. But then I feel like, well, maybe I am, and I'm just not giving him a shot. Because especially with older works of literature, sometimes it takes some time to get into it. I know people are always saying with modern works, they're whenever they put down a book and decide DNF a book, their reasoning might be, oh, I couldn't get into it. But I think that rule goes out the window when it's an older work of literature, before the 20th century, or early 20th century, because those books often, 18th and 19th century works, often take time to get into them, and don't always pull you in right away for contemporary audiences. Maybe back then they pulled people and they could easily pull their audience in, but we're a different audience. We're used to instantly getting things. So when it has a slow beginning, it can, not always, it can kind of frustrate you when, you get sidetracked, and so. But yeah, those two, and there are other authors I'm sure that I have neglected to get into, that I bought their books and have not. Sorry, there's something on my screen, a little white something. I do need to wipe down my computer screen though. I meant to before I turned it on, but anyway. So rule number 2: consider classic authors. Read their work. Also includes authors that, of course, there's only one book of theirs that I have that I've been meaning to read, like Herman Melville's Moby Dick. I want to complete that one, especially since I just read In the Heart of the Sea, The Tragedy of the Whaleship Essex, which inspired Herman Melville. That historical event, and that tragedy inspired Herman Melville's book. I recommend, if you are a fan or, like that book, Moby Dick, if you're a fan, check out In the Heart of the Sea, you know? Um, okay, now number 3. I will keep a reading journal regularly as a way to take notes. And that is not necessarily going ideally. I have not written anything lately. I've tried to remember to write, but there are times when I just don't feel like it. And I worked 4 days this week, so when I get home at 5, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just want to sit on the computer, stare at my computer screen, eat something, and watch, Angel, the show Angel, or watch one of the Disney shows that I'm feeling nostalgia for or something. I mean, that's lately how my watching has been going. Like, I've been watching Disney movies that I'm nostalgia for, like I said, and then I also started rewatching Angel. Like, I just finished season 3 of Buffy, so I was like, let me watch season 1 of Angel, and then I'll watch season 4 of Buffy, which, like, season 1 of Angel and season 4 of Buffy are going simultaneously. In fact, they have an episode that links them together. They have a couple episodes that link them together, actually. There's like 2, I think, that where there might be more than 2. Well, actually 3. Well, I don't know, but that's season 1 is the only time where they have actually no, in the season 4, I think, of Angel, Allison Hannigan goes over to Angel for an episode. In season, I think it's season 7 of Buffy, and season 4 of Angel. So, yeah, so that was the only time, because that was a little tricky since they were on different networks at the time. That's a whole thing. But yeah, I've been watching stuff, so because it's just easier to watch watch a YouTube video or watch a movie or something, than to sit there and try to use my brain power to think of my thoughts on a book, because I'm lazy and tired. So I've been trying. I've been trying to keep being, at least a little consistent, but I'm not doing a good job. Like, I haven't written anything in there lately, and I haven't done a lot of reading. Like, I did a little bit of reading during my appointment, because it was an appointment for both myself and my mom. So I went first, and then she went, and so while I was waiting for her, I did a little reading. But yeah, so I might write a little bit. Knock on wood, I don't talk myself out of it, but I might do a little bit of write a little bit, because I just finished Buccaneers yesterday. Sorry, my throat has been very raw lately. The last couple days. Not super congested. I mean, I'm a little congested. But my throat has been really bugging me. It's annoying. I mean, but anyway, so I'm gonna try to keep this, be consistent with this, because sometimes it's easier for me to just write my thoughts down, and, instead of just annotating the book. I do want to, that actually refers to my 4th one, which is I want to keep track of quotes that I like. I mean, it's easier to do it if I've read a book more than once. And it's also easy to do with a TV show or a movie. Because, it's easier for me to, remember, because I don't have to go through the pages. I don't have to be make sure that I've marked the page so that I remember to go back to, or do, put highlight or underline the quote or something, and make sure I remember the page. And it's easier sometimes to just be go on the internet and look for, although you can look for quotes on the internet from books too. That's how I got my Middlemarch quotes that I really like. So yeah, technically you can do that. You can look up quotes for, and I did look at quotes for Jane Eyre, which is one of my favorites. But also, it's just easier for me to memorize quotes from a TV show or movie than it is a book. Because there's time in between readings. I will watch movies or TV shows consistently, more than once. And sometimes with movies, I will watch them repeatedly, one right after the other. So it's easier for me to remember that kind of stuff when it comes to a movie or a TV show. But when it comes to a book, I'm not going to always remember, because unless I read it so many times, I'm not going to necessarily remember every little sentence that I loved. Like, because, there are authors where I love their writing style, and I wish I had the habit of keeping track of bits of dialogue and quotes and things that characters say and the writer says, just, the narrator says, in books where I love the writing style, where I just eat it up and it's just so warm and comforting, like, The Night Circus or anything by Kate Morton. So yeah, I want to get better at that. I'm probably jinxing myself with that because it's one of these things where you gotta do it. Like, I actually have to do it and discipline myself to do it if I want to do it, if I want to fulfill this goal. And the problem is, it's one of these things where I don't have to fulfill this goal. See, my problem isn't that I overachieve and drive myself crazy trying to fulfill these goals. My problem is I get lazy and make these goals, but then, halfway through the year, I don't fulfill them. Which I'm sure more people have that problem. I mean, maybe not. More people struggle with that than people that are overly ambitious and obsessive, with fulfilling the goals. So, like, I will set these goals, but there's no guarantee I will be motivated to build the habit of fulfilling them. I hope I'm not jinxing myself by doing this video where I talk about them. But yeah, so the last one is one that I'm not even sure I want to do or not. I mean, I think I might do it in February. I am thinking about doing this for February. But I'm not doing this, so far I haven't done this in January. But I want to, before I say what it is, I do feel like it's taking a risk here because I say I'm going to do something. It's just like planning TBRs, which I'm not going to do anymore. I'm going to continue not doing. Is that when I try to have a TBR, I don't always completely fulfill it. Which, in the same thing with when I take a bunch of books off my shelf and looking at them and thinking, I want to read these books, each of these books, knowing that I'm not necessarily gonna I can't always read these books. So, which is why I'm not gonna send TBR, because I'm not necessarily gonna fill my TBR. And I'm just gonna, the problem is I'll just keep adding to it because all of a sudden I recall, I want to read that book, I want to read that one too. So the goal idea is themed reading months. I mean, I really wish I knew how to do vlogs for you guys, but I don't know how, and I need someone to show me and help me practice doing a vlog, and not just like someone explaining to me, like, like I couldn't, I would struggle with it if any of you guys decide to volunteer and help me and make comments and explaining it to me. I need someone to actually, hold my hand and help me do it, teach me how to do it, and work with me on it until I could figure out how to do it. And I wouldn't do vlog if I could figure it out. If someone was able to help me learn how to do it, they wouldn't happen that often anyway, because my life isn't that exciting, and it's not like I can film myself and film. Like, I'm not doing a lot of stuff, and because I don't drive, I'm not going anywhere. So really, I don't need to do vlogs. I mean, there are times when I wish I could, so I could do like a themed thing, a themed reading vlog. But that's that's about it. That if I got into doing vlogs, then that's the only thing I would do. So, but I'm at the end of the day, it's like I'm fine if I don't ever learn how to do it. I mean, it'd be cool if I did, and I would be excited, of course, if I learned how to film a vlog. But then I wouldn't do it that often. So even though I like people's vlogs, it's like I don't have anything, like I don't have any interest in vlogging myself. Like, I do a little bit, but anyway, so but I still want to do themed months. I want to attempt to do that, so I'm going to. So I was thinking, because my sister, if you saw my what I got for Christmas video, my sister kind of got me some, Jane Austen themed books, and and also my parents also got me a travel guide to Jane Austen's England, and then I got something from Santa that was related, was sort of indirectly related to Jane Austen. Like, it was Walking Tours of Bath. And, so yeah, I was thinking about doing, like, a Jane Austen theme in February. And it is February in February. So, now the reading guidebook is not, like, reading for pleasure, necessarily. Or it's not like one of those books where you have to, like, read it and get it done, get it read and everything. It's one of those where you probably can pick it up and, if you want to read it for fun, you can, but you don't have to finish it. Just read maybe parts of it. And the same thing with the Walking Tours book. And what I would probably do is go through it, because I don't know if it was my dad or my mom that mentioned it when I was looking at them, that they said, oh, you got a mark in there, or so you can tell us where, being the one kind of guides us on the trip if we aren't able to finally go to London, or like be the person who picks where we go. So, but I might look at those a little bit during the month. And also, she got me not just books, but also Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth, which is most people's favorite adaptation version, I think. And it's also a miniseries, so it probably covers the whole book. Unlike the Keira Knightley version, where it doesn't, I imagine it takes out at least a little bit. And then also the Ciarán Hinds version of Persuasion as well. So I might watch. So I have 3 Jane Austen movie adaptations to watch this time around, because I also have the Emma one, and then the Pride and Prejudice 2005 version. So I'm slowly building my Jane Austen collection, along with my collection based on that are with books that are set in the Philippines, and my Tolkien collection, which I like that. I am having fun with that, like slowly building up those collections of authors' works, and or works that are based on something like a subject. Problem is, I still don't have a whole lot of space. I mean, my room is big. I have the bonus room, but I don't have a lot of I don't have a huge amount of shelf space, which is why I have to go through my books and at least pick a couple books that I want to donate. Which makes it kind of hard, because I feel like I will pick books to donate that I enjoyed, but then I'm like taking out books that don't necessarily, that I feel like would reflect my reading taste. But then if I remove them off my shelf, then my reading taste is not going to, I keep thinking, is my reading taste not going to reflect what I like to read? Or only reflect a part of what I like to read? And I'm getting off topic here, so let's get back on topic. So, Lisa, I want to do theme, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking, Jane Austen theme for February, as well as doing, the Jane Austen July. Hopefully, with Jane Austen July, I will eventually get, like, Lady Susan, or, get, some of her juvenilia, or some of her unfinished works, like, like the Watsons, or, Sanditon. I actually just today, the last book of the book I just read, that I just finished, is one of those unfinished works, Edith Wharton's Buccaneers. I mean, it's actually not unfinished because someone took over, a scholar of hers, or someone that studies her and her works. And that's, like I said, that's the Buccaneers. Pretty good book, and it's actually one of her few books that, as far as what I've read, that actually has a hopeful ending. Like, a lot of her books have very tragic endings. But this one seems to have a very happy ending, like, or at least a hopeful one. So, like, I'm going to, and then, I might do some kind of theme for March as well. But yeah, I'm not very good at themes all the time, because then all of a sudden I want to read books that have nothing to do with the theme. So, anyway, those are the only goals I've set for 2024. I would love to know what your goals are, for 2024, if you have any, or just, what you're currently, if you don't have any goals, feel free to share what you're currently reading, this month. And how's your reading going so far this year? I would love to know in the comments below as well. Sorry for the rambling. I hope you guys didn't mind that. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification button if you want to be notified about my latest videos. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!